Hello everybody out there in YouTube land! Today I'm taking a look at continuing my supervillain biography series. This supervillain is Solomon Grundy. We will take a look at the different versions of Grundy from over the years in DC Comics, from his origin to his time in the New 52 and beyond. So, his first appearance was in All American Comics, number 61, and that is from October 1944. He was created by Alfred Bester and Paul Reinman, and he was named for this nursery rhyme. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on a Tuesday, married on a Wednesday, took ill on Thursday, grew worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. This was the end of Solomon Grundy. So, Solomon Grundy of the Golden Age is from Earth 2 and is a supervillain from the 19th century. Originally, he was murdered in the mysterious Slaughter Swamp, and he resurrects and regenerates every time he is killed in his zombie form. This cycle of reincarnation also gives him different abilities every time, and this is in the Golden Age version. So anyways, over the years he has varied drastically in his strength and intelligence. He has been a member of many different groups, including the Black Lantern Corps, the Injustice League, the Injustice Society, the Secret Society of Supervillains, and even the Suicide Squad. So usually he is depicted as a supervillain in the DC Comics and as an anti-hero in the DC animated universe. He was originally depicted as a murder victim brought back to life as a zombie, and though subsequent versions of him have occasionally depicted him having a different origin. And he was first introduced in the Golden Age as an adversary of Green Lantern, the Alan Scott Green Lantern, but he has become a prominent enemy for numerous superheroes over the years, including Batman and Superman. So, originally in the 19th century, a wealthy merchant named Cyrus Gold is murdered, and his body is disposed of in Slaughter Swamp, that's near Gotham City, and 50 years later the corpse is reanimated as a huge shambling figure, partly composed of swamp matter that has accumulated around his body, and he has almost no memory of his past life. So he murders some criminals that are hiding in the swamp and takes their clothes, and he shows up at a hobo camp, and when they ask him about his name, he can't really remember, but he does remember he was born on a Monday. So one of the men in the camp mentions the nursery rhyme I read to you earlier, and Solomon Grundy decides that's a good name, so he takes the name Solomon Grundy from that. So he is really strong and vicious and nearly mindless. So he falls into a life of crime. So he attracts the attention of Green Lantern, the Alan Scott Green Lantern, and he proves to be a really difficult opponent. Well, he's pretty much unkillable, because if you kill him, he just comes back. And he has an inherent resistance to Green Lantern's powers. In the Golden Age, the Green Lanterns couldn't deal with stuff that was made out of wood, so a large part of Solomon Grundy's body is made up of the plants and swamp materials that were in the swamp he regenerated in, so Green Lantern has a hard time dealing with him. But in the first fight, it ends with Solomon Grundy being hurled under a train by Green Lantern, so that takes care of him the first time. But he is revived and comes back when a criminal scientist known simply as the Professor injects Grundy with concentrated chlorophyll, and after this second encounter, Grundy is trapped in a green plasma bubble for a while until a freak weather occurrence releases him from it, and he makes his way across the country and heads to the Justice Society of America headquarters, but Green Lantern arrives there early before the other members and leaves, but then the other members arrive and they find Green Lantern is gone, but their place has been smashed up because Solomon Grundy showed up after Green Lantern, and not finding what he wanted smashed the place up. So Green Lantern and Grundy are looking for each other, and eventually they run into each other, and Grundy rips up a tree by its roots and smashes it on Green Lantern. But Green Lantern fights back with his power ring and both of his fists until they fall into a nearby stream and over a waterfall, all. Green Lantern is severely dazed and tries to fight off Grundy with his ring, but he's too weak. So Grundy grabs him by the throat and is going to choke him to death. But Hawkman arrives at the last moment there and hits him with his mace, and Dr. Mid-Nite is able to revive Green Lantern. So the combined attack is able to stop Grundy, and Green Lantern takes him to the moon and just leaves him there. So eventually Grundy makes his way back, and he masters the use of the stored up emerald energy he has absorbed over the years from his battles with the Green Lantern. So he is able to use that power for a short period of time. Oh, and it gives him the power of mastery over all wooden objects for some reason. So he battles the JSA again, but his power runs down over time, and he is imprisoned in a bubble in space this time by Green Lantern and Dr. Fate. So after this, he is briefly a member of the Injustice Society of the World, and in the interim, he battles both the Justice Society and their counterparts, the Justice League, and he's fighting them in Slaughter Swamp, so he does really well, and eventually he crosses over from Earth 2 to Earth 1 and encounters Superman. And he continues, he goes on to afflict Green Lantern and his teammates again, including Huntress, and that's the first female he ever develops affection for. And he's shown from time to time as kind of a gentle giant and has a soft spot for the ladies after this. So anyways, after Solomon Grundy is rescued from a glacier by Alan Scott's daughter, Jade, Grundy becomes loyal to her, and for a while is an ally of Infinity Incorporated, but eventually he is tricked and attacks the Infinity Inc. So that ends up being the end of his quasi-heroic career. So that is the Earth 2 Golden Age Solomon Grundy. Now he also has the Earth 1 version of Solomon Grundy, and he arises when the Superman villain, uses an enhanced crystal to metabolically hasten the growth of residual cells that are left in the sewers from the original Solomon Grundy, who crossed from Earth 2, and this creates a new version, and this version's really strong. He ends up battling Superman, and Superman has a really hard time dealing with him. Eventually, he and Swamp Thing team up to fight Grundy, and this version of Solomon Grundy is eventually erased from history during the Crisis on Infinite Earths event. Okay, so Solomon Grundy also appears in the comics in Seven Soldiers of Victory, Infinite Crisis, and Brad Meltzer's Justice League of America, which is kind of interesting because Grundy is reborn with intelligence in that one, so kind of get the Professor Hulk, but the DC version. And he's also in the miniseries Salvation Run, which is really good, and he's also in Blackest Night. He becomes a Black Lantern in that, and he is of course in the New 52, and he's been reintroduced now in the current Rebirth. So Grundy has been there from the beginning all the way up until now. So these are the main few versions, but there's quite a few different versions of Solomon Grundy. There's an antimatter version, the Grundy Men in the Seven Soldiers of Victory series. He's in the JLA Avengers crossover. He's in, there's an alternate Grundy in Flashpoint. He's in Superman Beyond. There's, of course, the Injustice Solomon Grundy, who's in the Injustice games and the comic books. He appears in Batman Arkham Knight in the prequel comic, and he also appears in Batman 66, and he also appears in Emperor Joker. So, and then in addition to all that, he has had appearances in TV, including the live-action TV special Legends of the Superheroes, and CW's Arrow, and Fox's Gotham, and a whole slew of animated shows and movies, primarily the Super Friends. I imagine most people know him from that. And yeah, he was in the animated movie Superman Batman Public Enemies, and JLA Adventures Trapped in Time, Batman Unlimited Monster Mayhem, and Justice League vs. Teen Titans. So, of course, he is in the video game Injustice, but he's also in DC Universe Online, Batman Arkham City, Batman Arkham City Lockdown, Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate, the Lego Batman Beyond Gotham, and a few other things, some songs and stuff. So, that's all for now for the supervillain Solomon Grundy. He's got quite a long history, so that's all for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. My supervillain biographies is going to be an ongoing series. So far, I've done 4, including this one, so be sure to check out my supervillain biography of Ultraman, my one of Owlman, and my one for Prometheus, if you haven't already. And for my next one, I'm thinking of doing a video on Psycho Pirate. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. Oh, and one more thing. Be sure to share these videos if you know anyone who would like to watch them, who may not be aware of it. And same for our group on Facebook, DC Fans United. Be sure to check that out if you haven't already. And one more quick thing, if you're subscribed and want to get instant notifications when I post a new video, be sure to click the bell next to the subscribe button, and that will give you a message whenever I post a new video. Alright, well, thanks again, and I'll have another video up real soon. Probably be a comic book review will be the next thing. Alright, bye.
End of line.